Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AITA. In today's episode, AITA for telling my wife off after getting our daughter to cut her hair off, even after being told not to? WIPTA for telling my half-sister's new family that she kind of assumed my identity? AITA for blaming my sister when I got nothing for my birthday? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. AITA for telling my wife off after getting our daughter to cut her hair off, even after being told not to? My wife is currently battling cancer, and one of the things she's told me she's struggling with the most was losing her hair. She's been given a near 100% chance of survival since we caught it early, but the chemotherapy has destroyed her hair anyway, and she had to shave what was left of it off a few weeks ago. Not long after that, she suggested we attempt to get our 17-year-old daughter, Anna, to do so as well. Anna has very long hair that she puts a lot of care into, so I felt it was appropriate to ask her in private if she wanted to / would be willing to do such a thing. She told me that she didn't want to cut her hair, and I figured that was the end of that. However, yesterday they came home from a girls' shopping trip, something they do every so often, and Anna had a buzzed haircut. That struck me as odd after what she'd said, so after dinner I talked to her and she told me that my wife had said she would never forgive Anna if she didn't show her support by buzzing her head. I asked her if she was happy about it, and she said that she wasn't. When I went to bed, I brought it up with my wife and she said it was Anna's choice to or not. I just told her how I'd see the situation. I told her off, saying she needed to respect Anna's personal choices and that a 17-year-old girl being against shaving her head wasn't exactly out of the ordinary. However, my wife simply said it was to show support for her. I've been sleeping on the couch since. I love my wife, and I understand that she's going through something traumatic. However, her attitude comes off as very manipulative to me, and that's not behavior I feel I can personally accept. I'm not sure if I can move past this to continue the relationship. AITA? NTA. Your wife is a flaming asshole. I'm sorry that she has cancer, but what she did to your daughter was very abusive. If she is unable to deal mentally with her disease and treatment, then she needs professional help, not to manipulate and coerce your daughter into making a choice that she didn't want to make. Make no mistake, she abused your daughter. Honestly, cancer or no cancer, if I were in your shoes, I would seriously be considering divorce, if only to get your daughter to safety. Exactly. This is abuse. Period. OP, please support your daughter. I'm sorry your wife has cancer, but what she did to your daughter is unforgivable. NTA. Your wife's illness is tragic, but not an excuse to emotionally blackmail and ignore your daughter's body autonomy. Frankly, her behavior is very jealous and cruel. Call me crazy, but it's not even that tragic since she has 100% chance of survival. NTA. I hope your daughter moves out when she can. Your wife was so manipulative. She was absolutely horrible. Stand by your daughter. Maybe get your wife into a support group. She sounds like she needs it desperately. NTA, your wife wanted to use your daughter as a prop to her cancer. She knows she's going to survive, presumably, but she wants the attention she will get from it. Forcing your daughter to sacrifice something that is probably very memorable about her so people can gush about it is her way of getting more attention. It's unbelievably toxic, what she's done. The manipulation is honestly shocking. The power behind showing support through shaving your head for a cancer patient is that it's unasked and voluntary. Just asking / demanding someone shave their head because you have cancer is wild. NTA. Your wife, I'm sure, is struggling with self-image issues, but more or less manipulating her daughter into buzzing her hair was absolutely a terrible way to go about it. I think you were right to take your wife to task. When things are calmer, I would try to discuss this again with your wife, and explained your disappointment that she twisted Anna's arm to do something she didn't want to do by employing really, really bad parenting technique. If you don't do this, you don't love me, e.g. That shit is absolutely toxic and cannot continue. While your wife did something egregious, hair will grow back, and the damage is done. But it might be worth getting some family counseling. As you said, your wife is going through something really traumatic, visible, and scary. It's also possible that you have some of your own things to sort through. Of course, cannot tell from this post alone, but even mentioning she had a near 100% chance of survival seems to possibly imply you think she shouldn't be so upset. Assuming your relationship is otherwise healthy, I would try to work through this. Good luck, and so sorry this is happening. Whipped for telling my half-sister's new family that she kind of assumed my identity? I, F25, have a half-sister, F24, called Hannah. I suppose from our ages the circumstances of her birth are very obvious, and because of this and the subsequent drama, she was never in my life growing up. I would say I've met her less than 10 times in my life. When she was 16, she started consistently reaching out to me via social media, but I was never interested. This stopped when we were about 20. Since then, I mostly forgot about her existence until she reached out to me again at the start of this year, saying she'd got engaged. She wanted me to come to her engagement party and help her get in contact with the rest of my dad's side of the family. I told her I wasn't interested, but I did ask the rest of the family, granddad, aunts, cousins, if they wanted me to put them in touch with her, and they said no, so I told her that, too. About a week later, I got a message on social media from her fiancé, digging me out for how I treated her. He told me he understood that it was tough being the product of an affair, and he gets that I would be jealous of her since I was shunned by the family, but that she felt terrible about it and had always wanted a relationship with me. I was as confused as I was angry because he had the entire story arse backwards. I forwarded the messages to Hannah with a question mark, and she admitted that her fiancé and his whole family don't know that she is a fair baby, that they think she stayed in contact with dad's family, that she went to the schools and university and basically lived the life I did. I didn't blast her for the lies, I just told her that if I ever heard from any of the people in her life again, I would tell them the truth. The months went by. A few days ago, I received more messages from the fiancé and the fiancé's sister, calling me a heartless for refusing Hannah's attempts at contact. The sister said I needed to get over my jealousy of Hannah. The fiancé called me a spiteful witch for emotionally blackmailing Hannah's dad into not going to the wedding. It took everything in me not to reply and read the lot of them to filth. So, now I'm contemplating whether I would be the AH for messaging them back with the truth. It can't go on like this. I told Hannah to handle her business and she didn't. Also, her lies are pretty creepy. She's marrying a guy who has no idea who she is. Then again, it's not like she sent these people after me, so maybe I would be the AH for tearing apart her whole life over something that isn't technically her fault. NTA. Tell them the truth and block them all. You're not tearing her life apart, she is. It is technically her fault that she lied to everyone. She not only lied, but she outed you, and after having some family harass you, she still didn't tell them the truth and let more family harass you. She is perpetuating the lies even knowing you know she's lying, and she's adding more lies. She's now making them think things are your fault. This is 100% on her. Write up a message that's the truth, simple and honest. And then block anyone who contacts you from her side of the family. Any understanding anyone would have about someone lying about being an affair baby goes out the window when those lies start damaging someone else. At this point, I'd personally go all in and show your work. The timeline of the affair, who did what, why you don't have a relationship. The whole thing. You didn't solicit these messages. They opened the door, time to make good on your promise. Also, Hannah is 100% aware and encouraging these messages or they wouldn't be happening. NTA. Also, Hannah is 100% aware and encouraging these messages or they wouldn't be happening. Yes. I think she keeps the fire burning. Who knows what stories she made up. NTA, but why isn't your dad handling this? I guess she is not in contact with him. Based on the fact that I was accused of telling him not to go the wedding. NTA. You should definitely tell them the truth. And maybe see if it's possible to get a restraining order. This girl sounds unhinged. I speak from personal experience. My dad also had an affair daughter and she caused me and my brother a lot of troubles until dad got a restraining order against her. We were underage. Where is your dad in all of this? He should go and talk to those people and ask them to stop harassing you. AITA for blaming my sister when I got nothing for my birthday? I'm 17F. My sister, Jillian, is 34F. She was rather rebellious as a teenager and essentially pissed her life down the drain, so as a result, my parents are extra strict with me, despite the fact I've never even given them a reason to be. I'm grounded until Christmas with a review at Halloween because I was 20 minutes late home last month. The reason I was late home was because my friend's mom was driving me and stopped to run into a shop, then refused to explain to my parents why I was late home. AMS accused me of being dramatic. Anyways, yesterday was my birthday. My parents asked 2 weeks beforehand what I wanted, and told me a week beforehand that they had gotten it for me. On Wednesday, I had forgotten to wash out a tin of Heinz I had made myself before throwing it in the bin, so clearly, I'm the devil child. This led to my parents discarding the item they had bought me for my birthday and using that as punishment the next day by surprising me with nothing in front of Jillian. This was my breaking point and I lashed out, shouting at Jillian because it realistically is her fault I can't do anything or go anywhere. She's why I'm always grounded, and if she could have kept a note out of her nose at 16 then I wouldn't in this position. I told my parents they're awful people who couldn't raise their first child right, so now they're taking it out on me. Long story short, Jillian left crying and I'm now grounded until Easter. My parents are mad, and my dad is refusing to speak to or eat with me until I get my act sorted out. I made the situation worse by telling him he's a prick. AITA? Edit, I'm not my sister's child. I've literally seen the video of me being born and have a genetic disorder that's pretty rare, so the idea of my patents and then my sister and some random dude all being carriers is highly unlikely. 8+ months of grounding for being 20 minutes late and being overwhelmed and upset due to circumstances outside your control that suffocate you. NTA. From a former child in a home similar to yours, I highly suggest you look into emancipation. So much this. This is an abusive environment and unhealthy. This led to my parents discarding the item they had bought me for my birthday and using that as punishment. I'm now grounded until Easter. My dad is refusing to speak to or eat with me. I told my parents they're awful people who couldn't raise their first child right, so now they're taking it out on me. Whether or not they've always been awful parents, they're being awful to you. I'd be more mad at your parents for how they treat you, and if your sister's poor behavior is due to how they treated her in the past. NTA. You being almost 18, I hope you're able to move out and away from their abusive treatment. It is not normal. With the large age gap, it sounds like OP was the do-over baby. Your parents are TA. Your sister is twice your age. I'm kind of thinking she acted out because your parents are so uptight and it gave her no room to figure out what kind of person she was going to be. Sounds like you handle the parental stress better or put up with it more than she could. Extra strict parents don't raise well-rounded humans. Listen, you're in a terrible situation. But it is absolutely not Jillian's fault that your parents are abusive. And make no mistake, they are abusing you. I hope you have an adult you trust, a guidance counselor, a teacher, someone that you can talk with. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.